We actually had an encouraging sign yesterday, and then the Senate Health Subcommittee passed it out 3-2, which is movement, and it'll go to the full Health Committee, where we think we have a good shot to have that moved as well. After that, the path gets a little I'm just being as honest as I can, it gets a little trickier. I think our role is to continue to keep this discussion alive and to try to keep answering all the questions that came up. One of the big questions that came up was about, what happened? We don't think we can get out of this, even though they're saying we can. Well, we think we have kind of irrefutable evidence that if the state of Tennessee decides this doesn't work, that we can pull out of it. Like I said, we have a Supreme Court ruling, an Attorney General's opinion, and a letter from HHS saying that specifically we can. Other folks were saying, well, we don't have it in writing. But our hands were kind of tied by the sense of last year's General Assembly had passed legislation that wouldn't allow us to move forward without their approval. The way the waiver process works with HHS, moving forward without their approval means we can't move forward until we can't go submit that waiver to them until we get their approval. So we kind of have a little bit of a catch-22 situation going on there, but I think we can get those assurances out of HHS ultimately to do that. So all I know to keep doing is say, tell me what your concern is and answer it. I mean, I think that the reality is there's a lot of political concern around the issue. I mean, let's face facts, we have a state that's overwhelmingly red. We have a legislature that's 28 to 5 in the Senate and 73 to 26 in the House Republican. And a lot of those folks ran against the Affordable Care Act and ran against Obamacare. And I said 100 times, I don't like the way they did the plan either. I also don't like the way they planned it, the way they passed it. And I think that the way that they've done all that is reverberated to cause people like us who are trying to work things out problems along the way. So I got major issues with what they did and with how they did it. But the facts comes back to us, like, okay, we have an opportunity to do something in Tennessee that I think does put some market-based principles into place. It does cover people and doesn't cost the state of Tennessee any money. And long term, I'm convinced will save us money. So I don't know anything to do except to keep taking the arguments one by one and answering them. I will say this. I think it's important that people understand, well, this isn't just Haslam's plan. That there are a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life in Tennessee that think this is the right thing to do. And ultimately, like I said, this is a hard idea. I mean, if you're a legislator, to vote for this is hard. I mean, it just is for a lot of reasons because there's passions on either side. But I think it's also a case where we keep making our case, and maybe it doesn't happen initially, but we figure out a way to make it happen down the road. To do that, we need to keep having voices from people who say, this is important. This is important to me. It's important to our business and to our state.